voices blending, melodies ascending, harmony in the air. Our songs are never ending. In the barbershop we create magic. Brad and John show, yeah, it's pure classic. No instruments needed, just our vocal range. Notes flying high, it's our musical exchange. Tracy's station may try, but they can't compete. Our barbershop style, it can't be beat. Oh, the harmony of voices, so sweet. In the barbershop of life, our tunes will repeat. No need for instruments, no need for a band. Just the Brad and John show, the finest in the land.
John, I figured it out. You know what's wrong with our show?
We give the correct domains because we're not over the edge 636.
You're gonna pick on me about that. Okay, no,
that's their fault, not yours. What is great about our show, Brad?
Well, I'm saying what's missing about our show.
What is missing, Brad?
We need 2 more talk show hosts. That way we can do 4-part talk harmony. What do you think, John?
Oh, I love that idea. Well, knowing you, Brad, you know, you're taking this course on AI, and let me tell you, I just scratched the surface in what I could do. So maybe you could use AI to double our voices.
John is making fun of me again. Okay, some business to take care of right off the get-go. Today is Friday, although it feels like Thursday. I don't know why that is. Today is September 5th. Tomorrow is September 6th. Tomorrow is my wedding anniversary. And
congratulations, Brad. That's awesome.
Yes, I would have been married. Let me think. Today, I was married on September 6th, 1990. So tomorrow would be what? 45 years? 45 years?
Yeah,
wow.
I think so. And yesterday in C Block, we talked about you're contemplating therapy, Brad. And I want to say something that I think is instructive to folks out there. I think one of the most beautiful things that I hear is when you talk about the mother of your children. And I think if more men and women emulated your model, Brad, of why would you spend time with someone and why would you choose someone in your life and then badmouth them like so many people do, I think the way you treat the mother of your children is beautiful, Brad. I mean that.
We talk every day, and some people think that's weird. Last night... she trash talked me up. And this is what's so funny about it is after all these years, she can still trash talk me, and it's funny. I mean, when because she does this all the time. When she trash talked me last night, I was, believe it or not, John, I was sitting in the parking lot at Schnucks deciding if I was going to go in and get something to eat, but I had to fight off all the homeless guys who were coming to panhandle me. And anyway, that's a whole long story. Okay, John, what's interesting about it is John brought up something, and I am working with the Habitat for Humanity people. I want to get this right off the bat because John brought it up. I'm working with the Habitat for Humanity people. They're doing an over the edge where you rappel off the side of the building. We're doing this on the 20th of September, which is, 2 weeks from tomorrow, I guess? Is that right?
Yeah, only 2 weeks from now, Brad. This month is flying by.
Right. Okay. So if you've ever done this before, I've done it 14 times. It's a fundraiser, and what you do is each individual person needs to raise $1,000, and you can put together a team, and you can do like a pool kind of thing where if you have like 5 people in a pool, you raise $5,000, but one person raises a bunch of money, the other person raises a couple hundred. That's cool as well too. The web address is OTE636.org. John texted me yesterday and said, Brad, and he sent me a screenshot, and it did not go anywhere. It was essentially a GoDaddy landing page kind of thing. And so I emailed my contact at the Habitat for Humanity people, and it's fixed. So if you want more information and to sign up, OTE636.org, OTE, just think over the edge, and 636 in 636 land. OTE636.org. It's the 20th. The rappel is off the side of the Embassy Suites Hotel in St. Charles. And I have to tell you, I did something bad when I had my conference call with the OTE, with the Habitat for Humanity people a couple weeks ago. And I said to them, "Oh, that's a wimpy one." And they were like, "What do you mean it's a wimpy one?" And I go, "It's only 14 stories. You're talking to a guy that's done 35 stories off the top of the hotel building at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas." So, and it was funny. The one lady says, "Well, remember, this is St. Charles County. There aren't too many tall buildings," and that's true, because it very well may be that the Embassy Suites Hotel may be the tallest building in St. Charles County. Now that I think about it, I mean, John, you know the area. I mean, do you know any of really tall buildings out there? I mean, I really don't.
Other than the only thing I can think of is the Ameristar building.
You know what? You're right. Yes, the Ameristar building.
That's probably the biggest, right?
That you're right. Ameristar building would be the tallest, and probably the Embassy Suites would be the second tallest. So, anyway, there we have it. Okay, what do we do every single morning, Monday through Friday? But we didn't do this Pat Monday because John didn't want to do it, but I did. But that's a whole other story. We get together with John's list. John has this incredible list called johncombest.com. He has stuff on there from all over the state of Missouri. It's like the Drudge Report, but only by the state of Missouri. And he has literally dozens of things, sometimes 30. You ever kept track of how many the record was, how many items you had on your list?
Yeah, the answer is the same every time you ask me, Brad. I don't keep track.
He doesn't keep track. He doesn't keep track of a lot of things, but that's a whole other story. But anyway, what we do is we start the show off with this guy. We pull him out of the grave in Norway, dust him off, and say, "Okay, Casey, it's your turn. What's your name again?"
I'm Casey Kasem.
And he counts them down, and we start off with...
In third place,
we're going to repeat yesterday's number 3 and make it today's number 3, and that's redistricting. The Brad Hildebrands of the world would probably call it kabuki theater and use some worn-out theme about C.J. Muggs. But Brad, it was pretty much written before folks even got to Jefferson City that Republicans would, quote, rubber stamp the new redistricting map. And that's exactly what happened yesterday. I'd point folks to a piece from St. Louis Public Radio written by the great Jason Rosenbaum. I started to say inimitable. I think that's a great way to describe Jason. The inimitable Jason Rosenbaum. His headline, Trump approved congressional redistricting, gets Missouri House Committee approval. Brad, as you would say, much ado about nothing, because a House Committee voted 10-4, predictably, along party lines to approve this new redistricting map. And I guess the punchline here, Brad, is that debate early next week will start on the actual map. So because the committee approved it, then the full House, will debate it. What I think is interesting, Jason has a curious nugget in here. I think what we'll see, I think Democrats in Missouri look to Democrats in Texas and say, what could we do to get a lot of attention? What could we do to pull a stunt? Maybe Democrats around the country would cheer us and tell us, we're so proud that you're fighting for us. Jason writes, quote, still, House Democrats aren't planning on letting the map pass without a fight. Representative Jeremy Dean, Democrat of Springfield, was planning on spending the night in the House chamber after trying to call a point of order after the House adjourned its technical session earlier on Thursday. So I could see, Brad, I forgot who it was, but there was some broad in one of these legislatures that was planning on spending the night somewhere. I don't know if you saw this visual, but I could see House Democrats in Missouri being really envious of Democrats in other states that get a lot of attention and get a lot of social media attention and heat, and maybe do some kind of a stunt like sleeping in their office or, eating late night junk food at the Capitol saying, we're fighting for the people. So we'll have some big fights early next week, Brad. And it was supposed to be just a general boring veto session like always, but we'll probably see some fights next week. So
they want to stay at night? Is that the deal? Is that they want to stay, but they can't?
Well, I think I guess if you're a Democrat, you could spend the night in the chamber or spend the night in your office. It would be done as a stunt. There's no functional reason for it.
That's
Brad.
what I was going to say. So in other words, it's not like they're filibustering anything. They're just going to say...
No. Like the session was over. But the idea is you could get a picture of you like sleeping in your office with your Hello Kitty sleeping bag or something and saying, I'm not going to leave the Capitol until my voice is heard. And you can click here for the Act Blue link and you can give to our loser committee where we're going to lose more House seats in the legislature next year. So I would expect some stunts from Democrats. And frankly, if I was in their position, I would be doing the same thing. Of course, the Missouri Democratic Party doesn't invest any resources in communications or anything like that. But if I was Ashley Awney, I'd be like, what kind of stunt can we pull to raise a little money from this?
So what you're saying is there is somewhat of a tie between some of the Democratic legislators and Herb Kelleher? Is that what you're telling me now, John?
Yeah, I would think so. A really symbolic and meaningless positioning for the cameras. And then just think, Brad, decades from now, there'd be some old sap on the radio that would say, in my day, I remember when Ashley Awney got on the House floor and she didn't leave over redistricting. And I'm a patsy and I wrote a check for $50.
Is that me?
I didn't say you're an old patsy, Brad. I just say that you fell for a PR trick for decades and repeated it on the air. Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for number 2?
I think so, Brad.
Up a notch to number 2.
Man, oh man. Mark Reardon had one of my favorite guests on yesterday. Actually, he had 2 of my favorite guests. The first one was Congressman Jason Smith talking about the big, beautiful bill and the alleged, quote, rebranding of that bill. But that's not the focus of number 2 today, Brad. The focus of number 2 is that Mark Reardon had your friend and mine, Eapen Thampy, on the air. Now, Eapen is a noted cannabis and marijuana lobbyist and activist, but let's call him a lobbyist. But he wasn't talking about cannabis on this day. He was talking about ibogaine. Brad, do you remember a couple months ago we talked about ibogaine on this very show? It was in your top 3, wasn't it?
I got to turn my microphone back on. Okay, first off, I heard the interview, and all I can tell is you're treading into my top 3 this morning.
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, I won't go too deep in it though, Brad. I'll just say, as we tread in, let's say maybe some of this discussion for your top 3, because we only have 5 minutes left in the segment. But ibogaine comes from a tree or a bush. I believe it's a tree, and can be used to help people that have PTSD. It actually encourages neurogenesis, which is the rebuilding of brain cells, actually literally rebuilding and rewiring your brain. And we'll leave this for your segment, Brad, in B Block. But Eapen also revealed the location and the new job of former state representative Ron Hicks. Let's talk about that in B Block, Brad.
You know what? That was interesting as well, too. Well, yeah, we won't talk about that right now. We'll move on to number 1. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
The number 1.
Oh, hello, Brad. I heard last week you talk about Golden Corral. Did you talk about Golden Corral on the Brad and John show?
No, I think we talked about the golden apple, didn't we?
No, Brad, we did not talk golden apple. Because if we did, you would have sent me a bill for it and say, look, I do your advertisement. You don't even have to write it. I run it for free. But the one condition, I have to write the ad copy.
Brad, the golden apple, as you accurately interpreted and predicted, was rated yesterday. Folks can go to johncombest.com and see the top set of links is the fact that 2 Chinamen, I guess a Chinaman and a China woman, who live in St. Peter's, have been charged with housing illegal immigrants. One in the old Parc Charles neighborhood and at their restaurant, the Golden Apple. I guess apparently, Brad, as I see on the video coverage and read in the news coverage, these folks had a Chinese restaurant and they were able to take some folks, had a whole bunch of folks. One report said 20 people filing out of their house in St. Peter's. And they had these folks, I guess, presumably were working at this Chinese restaurant, and they were less than legal, Brad. or as Channel 5 called them, quote, immigrants who came here illegally. You know, you don't want to call them illegal immigrants. Immigrants who came here illegally got busted, Brad. So I guess if you're a big fan of the golden apple, which I'm not, I don't do Chinese food. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know who would put that in their body. But if you're a fan of the golden apple, apparently there's a sign up there that says, we closed. We temporarily closed. Boop, 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 boop. What do you think of this, Brad?
John, you know what? What's interesting is that house they raided is like about a half mile from my old house. I know.
Are you serious?
I know exactly where that's
now,
at.
for folks who did, and help me with this, Brad, where exactly is this? Where's that house?
It's off of St. Peter's Cottleville Road.
Okay. I'm trying to picture how you would get there.
Well, you just get off of 94 Central School Road, and the road sort of forks off to the right. If you can go straight on, it's sort of mixed.
I know that area. Okay, and then you do what?
You just go down the street, and it's down the street down there.
Wow.
I know exactly where it's at. I mean, and what's crazy about it is a couple of my kids had friends in there, and I know the subdivision real well because I would drop my kids off over there at their house, and sometimes they'd come over to our place. And I know, matter of fact, it's funny. I when I saw it on I did some, watching some of the news last night. I saw this, and I thought to myself, I think I know that house. Because,
yeah, when they would come home, would they smell like MSG?
The crazy thing about this whole story is that restaurant is relatively new, and I think it's only been in business for like 4 or 5 months.
What used to be there? I'm sure it used to be something.
I can't remember. It's in one of the strip centers. I can't remember exactly what used to be there, but this is so weird. I mean, and the other part of it is, okay, if I mention the name Gladys Kravitz, does that name ring a bell to you?
Yeah, that's Lenny's his old lady.
No. Have you ever watched the old Bewitched show?
Probably not since 86 or 87. What about it?
Okay. The nosy neighbor across the street from, hold on a minute, I got a cough here. The nosy neighbor across the street from the Bewitched couple, she was the witch and Darren, her husband, was Gladys Kravitz. And she was always looking out the window. She's one of these neighborhood Snoopy people who's always looking out the window. And she would, from time to time, what was their name? What was Bewitched? What was her actually name? Sabrina? Well, no, I don't know if that was her name. Okay. She would catch her.
I don't remember.
She would catch her doing her magic things, her witch stuff, okay? And then she'd and Mrs. Kravitz, I saw her blink her eyes, and the car went up in the air and went over the house, that kind of thing, okay? I don't know about you, but I have family members that live, once again, very close to where this happened, that have retired people that live on their street. And my one family member is creeped out by the fact that sometimes this guy across the street will come over and talk to my family member and say, hey, I saw you leave for work yesterday morning at 7:47. Normally you're on the road at 7:38. Were you late for work yesterday morning? So why weren't there more nosy neighbors in this subdivision? To the point where they would see like 20 people, and they showed, if you saw the video, they showed the van. They had like one of those 12-passenger van. And
I saw that, Brad.
And they would file out of the house into the van, and they would go to work, and then after work, they would all file back into the van and go back home, and they'd file out of the van and go into the house. How come nobody saw that? Or maybe that's how it got reported.
But Brad, maybe they did, and maybe Guo is me. Maybe Guo Lin was actually a super nice guy. And maybe the folks thought, well, they're working. They're not a bunch of Mexicans sitting in the front yard barbecuing, being stinky. Like maybe they're actually producing something for the community. Let's not snitch on them.
Well, John, there's a part of the story that I have secret sources that
what happened, Brad? You got a couple lucky loos in the neighborhood looking, right?
Not secret sauces, but secret sources that also stated that after they got off work in the van, they would drive up into North County and they would drive into the Boeing complex, and these 20 people would get out to quote unquote exercise, but they were actually snooping at Boeing on the new F-47 program.
Oh yeah, they had the Google glasses on. They could take pictures, right?
They had the Google glasses, right? This story is so weird. The interesting thing was, this morning I heard Mark Cox play the bit on this, and maybe it was on Channel 4, and the reporter comes out and saying, St. Charles County residents are shocked, or something to that effect. And he said the same thing. I thought to myself, no, we're not. We don't.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, the news station has to say shocked.
Right.
Because then you'll pay attention and say, what's so shocking? I got to watch.
Right. Oh, my God. There's Chinese people living in this house, and they're working in a Chinese restaurant. Oh, my God. That's so shocking. That's like.
The bad thing for the FBI people that busted them, the ICE agents are, the thing about busting Chinamen is, after you bust one group of them, you're hungry to bust more like an hour later.
John, you and I disagree on a lot of things. You and I are on the same page. Chinese food, I will say the same thing I say about Chinese food, about Mexican food. It looks like the person that ate it before you didn't like it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'll say. Okay? We have to take a break.
I want to get to some ibogaine in B block. I want to hear your thoughts on using a little bit of psychedelics for PTSD.
Well,
Brad.
you're not going to like what I'm going to say in my B block. You are not going to like it.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
Okay,